It is the Magic Hat, Brian. It's Gold and Black Live from Katie Court, Mackey Arena. Tom Dienhart, Brian Neubert join me, and we're going to start with football first, and then Matt Painter will join us in segment 2, and Jihad Proctor in segment 3. The Boilermakers will be having practice on the back end of this live stream, but after all, it is the internet, so we should be just fine when they're bouncing basketballs back there. I want to thank our sponsors, Triple X on the hill, but on the level, a Purdue tradition since 1929, and Hilton Garden Inn, when tomorrow's a big day, State HDI tonight, and of course, State Farm agent Trent Johnson at trentismyagent.com. All right, Tom, pretty big test for you. You're leaving right from here and heading right to the airport because you're in a hurry to get to Penn State, but the Boilermakers have as big a challenge tomorrow as I can ever remember a Purdue football team having, based on everything that's going on.
Yeah, Vegas has them as a 28-point underdog. To give you some perspective, we've all seen Purdue play this year. We know what they're up against. The injury situation has been otherworldly. I talked to Jeff Brom after practice yesterday, asked him if he'd ever been through anything like this. Of course, he said he hadn't.
Yeah.
Again, you guys know the injured personnel, the key guys, Sinlar, Moore on offense, of course, defensively. No Neal, no Bailey. On and on it goes for the Boilermakers. As you said, Al, now they have to wade in to Beaver Stadium. Homecoming, yeah. Penn State, 4-0 Penn State. 4-0 Penn State coming off a 59-0 demolition of Maryland last Friday night. So long story short, they're playing well, Purdue's playing bad. Could be a long afternoon for the Boilers.
Brian, I mean, you've been around Purdue football a long time. It's in football a long time. This is Penn State's really good. I mean, they got a team that. You almost have to say, what is a reasonable expectation if you're Purdue tomorrow? Knowing you have a coach that doesn't like moral victories and that kind of stuff.
I mean, we think Penn State's good. I mean, we know Maryland, based on its results lately, isn't great. But we can assume Penn State's very good.
Yeah.
Playing in that environment is never easy. You know, you would say Purdue's playing with one hand tied behind its back, but that hand is probably broken at this point anyway, so
yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is good.
Just came up with that. No, I think kind of your expectation now is the kids go out there, you hope they play with great effort, you hope they play with great exuberance and energy. That gives you something that you might not otherwise have, but that comes at the expense of experience, that comes at the expense of depth, that comes at the expense of not having a lot of your best players at key positions. I've seen situations before where Purdue's lost a bunch of guys at the same position all at once, and that seemed bizarre, but I've never seen anything this all-encompassing where it's a wide receiver, it's a couple wide receivers, it's the quarterbacks, it's the running backs, it's the linebacker, it's the defensive tackle, it's all across the board, and it's all of your older guys, and it's all of your most important players. It's just a really, really difficult situation to be in. I think what you want to see is energy, you want to see exuberance, and just kind of see what happens.
Penn State, Tom, is not Minnesota defensively also. I mean, I know they talked this week, and Jeff Brom talked about the fact that the Nittany Lions like to bring some different looks. That can be another challenge for Jack Plummer in terms of his growth. It's going to be a more skilled, more athletic defense, but also one that has a little bit of trickery as well.
Yeah, good coordinator in Brent Pry. They've got an NFL defensive end. They have a 5-star NFL linebacker, Micah Parsons. Again, plenty of solid personnel, blue chip personnel for James Franklin's crew. Now, I guess if there's a little bit of silver lining for Purdue, you have to be pleased with how the offense responded last Saturday.
No doubt.
Dug back from a 31-17 deficit, or 38-17 deficit, got up to 38-31. So again, the offense showed some life. Again, I'm not saying, Minnesota's defense is Penn State's caliber, but again, offensively, the Boilers showed some life with Jack Plummer, without Rondale Moore, which is nice. Now, defensively, guys, I think as Brian pointed out in the post-game column he wrote, that Purdue didn't lose that game, sadly, because of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
They lost that game because of its defense.
Right.
And again, they got to get things buttoned up on that side of the ball. We talked to Nick Holt about it this week. We talked to Jeff Brom about it this week. And that's going to be the key area for Purdue. You can't continue to allow these big plays in the passing game.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, you look at Penn State also as a team that they feel like it's their best team that they've had under James Franklin. They had a Big Ten championship caliber team in 2015. or was it 16?
Right.
But this is a, you know, again, if you're Purdue, what do you try to do tomorrow? I mean, do you try to make sure you get home healthy, get back on the plane healthy? I mean, it's not.
Well,
Jeff Brown doesn't look
yeah.
at things that
Well,
way, I'm sure.
I mean, just you obviously want to do enough positive things to kind of carry yourself forward under these circumstances. You know, I think one thing to keep in mind about the offense is that this isn't going to be a straight line up necessarily. When you're playing this many young guys, you're going to deal with some inconsistencies. You're going to deal with people adjusting to them. You know, Penn State has film now on Jack Plummer. Penn State has film on David Bell playing really well, and those guys are going to get treated a little bit differently than they did against Minnesota when they both did some very positive things. So I think you got to be prepared for a little bit of turbulence, but you just want to do enough positive things to have something to build on. Obviously, you want to win the game. If you can't win the game, you want to do enough positive things to have something to build on moving forward, because this is a team that, as I've said a couple times this week, is playing with its 2021 team right now in 2019. So what you want to do is, obviously, with all these young guys on the field, you want to kind of get better each kind of step of the way.
Yeah. All right, now, and I just realized, Brian, I haven't written my prediction yet, so I better get that done.
Please do.
Because we're going to have that on the site. All right, what do you see tomorrow? I mean, and you're going to get there. You're going to stay in Harrisburg tonight, get there tomorrow morning bright and early for what is a great environment in college football, but how do you see it working out?
We're one of the best venues in college football, one of the best campuses in college football. Again, this homecoming is going to be a crazy atmosphere. If any way Purdue can shorten the game, try to, as Brian liked to say, manufacture a running game, keep it away from Penn State for extended stretches, that will help. And I think the defense, we talked about their need to not allow the big plays to make Penn State earn its yards and earn its points. Maybe more importantly, Alan, generate some turnovers.
Yeah.
Get the offense some short fields. Maybe the defense scores its first touchdown since the Ohio State game last year was Marcus Bailey with the pick six. So again, it's going to take some circumstances like that, some unconventional touchdowns, a manufactured ground game for Purdue to stay in this and try to keep it close.
All right, and we'll have a prediction on the site. Anything else you want to add? What a great insight into tomorrow.
Well, if you believe in the universe balancing itself out, Purdue is due for some good luck. Perhaps you get a couple of turnovers here and there. Perhaps that helps you stay in it till the end. You don't know. But there's also so much unknown about Purdue right now. You never know what Jack Plummer's going to do. You never know what a David Bell is going to do. There's so much unknown. We'll also see what Purdue's been able to come up with here this week in practice in terms of creativity, potential wrinkles, whatever it might be. Purdue might be able to manufacture enough to kind of stay in this into the second half, and then you never know what happens, I guess.
Penn State has a lot of big games, not that tomorrow isn't, but obviously with the Iowa, Michigan State, Ohio State still left to play on its schedule. So we're going to take a 2-minute break, get Coach Matt Painter on here as he's been gracious enough to join us, and we'll look forward to doing that in a couple minutes on Gold and Black Live.